And then when I finished that, it was like, oh, I gotta get self-serve copy. Really, and the people are just so wonderful. Show up, like, everybody is just always waiting for how to like that. You know.
Sorry.
But of course, you can love it.
I've learned how to park on the street on my go to park.
Just start.
Oh yes, everybody.
Almost 58. So I
There's not many.
Everybody enjoy the food? Good, good? Hello? Up here, somebody listen. Who can listen? Up there, can you listen? Sorry, everybody's, thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. Good, good? Everybody enjoy the food?
Yeah.
All right, so we have been, this is part of the deal that Mike put together, is we're going to sing a song to the staff. Mike Gallagher. Before lunch, yes, well, after we eat. It burns calories. It should be good. So we're going to have the staff come out, and then Drew, I believe, is going to lead us at our seats with Always. So everybody think of the first word of that song so we can start strong. Mike, do you have the pitch? Mike Jones, you got the pitch, Mike? Oh, I didn't know you. Everybody, all the guys stand up. I'm giving Drew the microphone. He doesn't know.
Dreams will all come true, growing old, and time will fly. Carry each day more than the day before, till spring rolls by, rolls by. Then when the springtime has gone, then will my love linger, linger. I'll be loving you always, with a love that's true always. When the things you plan need a helping hand, I will understand always, always. Days may not be fair, always. That's when I'll be there, always. Not for just an hour, not for just a day, not for just a year, but always, always, days not fair, always, always.
Thank you. Very much. We're splitting them.
Good job, sir.
Try to get us right back.
Does everybody feel comfortable getting started? No? Thanks, Billy. I didn't know who said that. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started with the awards segment tonight. I did a little Googling to find some quotes about award dinners, which I thought were kind of interesting. One is from Jack Benny, and the other is from a Greek philosopher named Epictetus. So I'll start with Jack Benny. When he received a prestigious award, he said, "I don't deserve this award, but I have arthritis, and I don't deserve that either." So that's his thoughts. And the second quote from Jack Benny, it's nothing to do with awards, but since we're golf club, "Give me golf clubs, fresh air, and a beautiful partner, and you can keep the golf clubs and the fresh air." That's all it's doing. And from Epictetus, on a serious note, his philosophy about life is the key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. And I feel that's what we have here in the Thoroughbreds. So I think today's celebration of awards is not so much about the individuals, but it's about what we as an organization do for each other in the great tradition of the Thoroughbreds. So I'm excited to start the award portion. So the first one are for the crazy guys, the perfect attendance. So I'm going to call up Mr. Ed Worth. Let's give that a hand. He's the first to do
Thank you, Dave. This year we had two guys at perfect attendance. First, they're right here, right?
Yeah, they're right there at the end.
They're not here, though. First one I want to call up is Mike Geringer. Mike. This is your first year you have perfect attendance. Mike, congratulations. Congratulations.
I got something.
Oh, no.
When my partner gets up here,
Waiting for the flash.
Jerry.
Okay, the second person is the very person who gets this award every year. By the way, this is a note. I've been taking attendance since 2000. I got my records going back before. But since 2007, Troy Lovett has had perfect attendance. Wow.
We both having something in common. Oh, man.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ed. One thing I should tell you, Eric's not here tonight, so we're doing a live broadcast of tonight's show, and they're getting a very good view of Jerry Docker's butt. So today, we're going to take pictures for you. And we're on my butt, don't get me wrong, I'm not being perfect. I've been told Eric's actually watching, so let's all yell hello to Eric. Hey, Eric! The next award is Rookie of the Year, which both Reese and I were lucky enough to be honored with last year. And tonight's winner is not here. But just to give you a little bit of, he did not win the perfect attendance award. But just to give you a feel for him, I see Nick next to this guy. He's always constantly prepared. He's really stepping up and taking on some new responsibilities very quickly. He's going to be helping Mike out as co-chair of the show committee. And his wife, Morgan, sings with the Pride of Kentucky. Robert Rocky is the Rookie of the Year this year. So. All right, we're going to do the very important Thoroughbred Award at this point, the VIT Awards. The point of the very important Thoroughbred Award is every year there's a group that really steps forward and makes a contribution to the Thoroughbreds that can be a number of different areas, not just singing, but work ethic, etc. So the two of the past winners, I'd like for them to come up to help present the awards, Dave Schroeder and Jay Hawkins, if you both could come up, which pretty much assures the fact that you two did not win this award. So we're going to call each person up if you can accept your award, and then just line up, and we're going to have Jerry take a picture of everybody. And these are some of the comments and quotes that I received from people from the chorus. These aren't mine, so there's some depth and reality to these things. But Troy Lovett, first of all, definitely the spiritual leader of this chorus, the compass of this chorus. If there's goodwill in the chorus, I think it's definitely Troy. So Troy, if you can come up.
Amen.
James Cole, if you could come up. All I have to say is bingo. Bingo. That job takes every Friday night from, what is it, 6 o'clock till 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning? 3 in the morning, okay. It's the major fundraising source for the Thoroughbreds at this point. He's taken that on. Is Don Schlater here? No. He's not here. Okay. Well, he's also a VIT award with his annual show preparation. There you go, Don.
Yeah,
right. Jerry Diker, if you could come forward. He's here. He is here. He does a great job with the website. He takes all the pictures.
He's going to come out fussy.
He does the Starting Gate newsletter. He has a great butt. Next is Mike Arringer. Mike Arringer. He is absolutely the work. He's a tireless workhorse of this chorus. He's organized, he's engaged, he's enthusiastic, he's everything that a thoroughbred should be. Mike Jones, if you could come forward. Mike does a great job of always speaking in terms of excellence. And if you ever need a pitch blown, it's like quick draw McGraw. So. And then somebody who's not here, hopefully tuning in from Florida, Charlie Schladlin. The guy would run. I always mispronounce that. The guy would run through a wall or a window for the Thoroughbreds, and he does all the riser work, etc. So. These are the VIT award winners and the presenters. So, Can you get the picture?
I'm trying to, I'll move them.
One left already. We gotta get a picture.
Two rows, get away.
I'll let you see it.
There's a blur going on here. I need all three of you.
There's several. Right shoulder.
No, wait, who is it?
Let's get a pitch.
Indian Schroeder?
I'm not, no, no.
Oh, you're nothing.
Sing something, loser.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, camera. I'll be a newsletter picture of that.
All right, and now we have a special presentation from Troy. Troy, if you can come up, please.
You weren't supposed to be.
I know, I see pictures. Terrible.
This is kind of a special time for us, not only because of these very important awards that we've had, but we get the opportunity tonight to especially recognize a gentleman who has achieved a milestone that is enviable and also very significant, and that is 50 years as a barbershop. So we've done this through the years in some ways with Jim Burgess and John Barkley and Harold Fowl and a couple of others, Ken Buckner. But tonight we get a chance to celebrate the barbershop career of W.C. Walton.
Hey.
Never looked better right there. I've got to take a few minutes to at least get a few things in on WC so we can celebrate this in proper perspective. First of all, I was amazed one time at one of WC's birthday parties that he said that you know you're getting old when you're too old to die young. So I guess that's right. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about golfing in WC, which goes kind of hand in hand. I was impressed with WC that he said, you know, by the time that you get to where you can afford to lose a golf ball, you can't hit it that far. Right? One weekend, it was a beautiful weekend, and WC came in, and Gretchen sort of spotted what was going to go happen. So she thought she'd kind of cut him off before it happened. And that was, it said, now WC, you're not going to play golf this weekend. I want to lay it down right now. I've got plenty of work for you to do here. No golf this weekend. And WC, in his own way, said, well, honey, you know golf is the furthest thing from my mind. By the way, would you pass the putter? WC was playing with a friend, and this friend was struggling a little bit. He said, you know what, WC, if I could break 100, I'd move heaven and earth. And WC, as only WC can say it, you know, probably with a clap. Said, well, I wish you'd just concentrate on heaven. You've already moved enough earth. WC were playing golf, and it happened to be on a Sunday morning, Jerry. I don't know why you were out in church, but that's the way it came out. So anyway, WC was a little bit late, and Jerry asked him, he said, well, why are you late? And he said, well, I had to kind of decide whether to go to church or play golf. And Jerry said, well, why are you late? He said, well, thought I'd flip a coin. I had to flip it 15 times. WC finally made a hole in one, and of course that's a pretty good accomplishment. And he comes home to Gretchen and he says, "Honey, I made a hole in one." And Gretchen said, "Well, what does that mean?" And he said, "Well," he said, "usually on those par 3 holes, it takes me 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6 or 7 strokes." He said, "But today, I made it in one shot." And she didn't miss a beat. She said, "Well, why weren't you home for dinner earlier then?" Last move WC ever made was marry Gretchen, in case you don't know. WC came in one day with Gretchen and he said that he wanted to invite a young man home for dinner. "What do you mean dinner?" Gretchen said. He said, I have a cold, the baby's cutting teeth, the house is as hot as an oven because you won't buy an air conditioner, and my household money is gone. So all we got to do is eat hash." He said, "Darling, I know that. That's why I invited the guy home. He's an idiot enough to think he's going to get married." WC had a bumper sticker one time. I remember that. He said that you've got to get revenge, live long enough to give your children a problem. So is that the way it is? WC's family, it's kind of interesting when you go back far enough. In the Civil War, his great-great-grandfather, in the battle between the North and the South, he fought for the West. Now, WC, I hope a lot of you knew his father. Bill Walter was one of the nicest people that I ever met in my life, and a real gentleman, real fine man. And he joined the Thoroughbreds in the early '60s. As a matter of fact, WC came up here to be with his dad. But I always was amazed after meeting Bill Walter is how in the world did WC get the way he was? Everything is, let's sing, loud, clapping. Where did all that come from? WC came to the Thoroughbreds in the early '60s, and in the late '60s, in time to join his dad in 1969. Bill Walter had won a gold medal in 1966 with the course, but in 1969, in the famous contest that I spoke to you about a few weeks ago, the Thoroughbreds won that contest by 356 points. And that was the first gold medal that WC got in 1969, joining his father. Now, to celebrate WC's Thoroughbred career and barbershop career, you just have to go through quartets. He has been a great quartet man all through the way. So I'm going to go through a few of these, and I'm going to call some names. And I realize that these names may not be familiar to a lot of the new Thoroughbreds, but they're names that you need to hear because these are great men who served this chapter very well. I want to mention a quartet in 1969 that called the Derby State 4. Now, Jerry Strange was a part of that. Leroy King was the lead. Joel Buchanan was the baritone, and Herb Humphreys was the bass. Now, I mentioned that because after '69, Jerry and Leroy left that quartet and sang in a quartet called The Strangers. Was that right?
Yeah, but you're missing one.
All right, let's have that.
Okay, about 1965, WC and I sang in the Auctioneers.
Okay.
That was the first one.
Okay, thank you. In 1970, the Derby State 4 was formed, and in that quartet, WC sang lead. Jesse Dean was the tenor, Joel Buchanan was the baritone, and Bruce Pfeiffer was the bass. In 1971, the Derby Towners were made up of Gary Williams, Don Grammer, familiar to many of you. WC sang baritone in that quartet, and Bob Burnett sang the bass. Some really fine Thoroughbreds right there. In 1974, WC won his second gold medal in Kansas City. In 74, 75, the quartet that was formed there was River City Sound. And that quartet contained Charlie Oberhausen, Jerry, Mary Luce, and WC sang lead in that. Now, the reason that one was significant, and Jerry's already added the quartet to my knowledge here, but that quartet, which featured Jerry and WC, was to continue in some form for a lot of years. In 1976, Jerry and WC left the River City Sound and were replaced by Denny Spence and Jim Burgess, which is familiar to many of us. In 1978, WC began what became a long association, of course, as the printer, printing the programs year after year in his printing, which has gone on just until recent times. His third gold medal was won in 1981 in the famous, in 1978 in Cincinnati, which was one of the most famous championship of all time. This course defeated local majority. That was the last time the local majority lost for 30 years. In that contest, we've actually Union won as well as the Thoroughbreds, but that was WC's third gold medal. In 1979, a quartet that you all are familiar with was formed, and that was the Over 44. And that was Harold Howe, WC, Jerry, and Denny Spence. Now I wanted to read to you the, I don't know what this was called, Jerry, but I liked it. The Over 44, here's what they put in their advertisement. This was the 1937 second runner-up quarterfinal heat of the South Louisville 3A Division of the International Federation for the Chronologically Gifted Hospital Bed Relay. Now, in other words, that was the IFFTCGHDR. The Over 44 consists of 4 longtime friends who have collectively been singing barbershop harmony for almost 100 years. A few years ago, they got together and found you don't have to be young or handsome or especially talented to have fun singing a quartet. All you need is a few traditional barbershop songs or their versions of some, and the overwhelming desire to make a complete fool of yourself in front of a lot of people. So, sparing every expense, they brought their wardrobe, borrowed an old pitch pipe, and set out to make folks happy. After all, they exclaimed, it's either this or back in the hole. So that was the advertisement that they had for that. The fourth gold medal that WC won was in 1981 in Detroit. That was, again, a very, very famous performance by the Thoroughbreds, Mardi Gras March, 114 men that year. And in the 80s, WC moved into the administrative side of the chapter. He'd been in the singing side, and he decided he wanted to become active in that way. He was the membership vice president in 1983 and president, of course, in 1984. Now, that's very significant because as president in 1984, when the Thoroughbreds won their last gold medal, he was the president who received the trophy. So I'm sure he would say to that that was one of the highlights of his barbershop career was that moment. When Denny Spence left the quartet in the early 90s, he was replaced by Bruce Garwood. And by that time, the Over 44 became the way Over 44. And they sang for many years through the 90s, and all of us were enamored by that. Another quartet in 2003, after Bruce left the quartet, and Harold, WC, Al Denver, and Denny Spence came back to sing Senior Moments, the first Senior Moment. And of course now, the Senior Moments are composed of Eddie Murphy, WC Walker, Jerry Strange, and Ron Moore. So, WC, through the years, has served on the board, he's served on the music team, he's been an assistant director, he's been a section leader, and he's been Thoroughbred of the Year. I don't know what else you can do. I mean, he's done the whole thing. And I'm going to add a personal note that one of the things that I will always remember WC for was in 2002, the course went through a very traumatic time. And I think it's safe to say that the course was at its probably most perilous moment at that time. We had gotten down to 13 members. So there was a group of us who met, and 7 or 8 of us who met, and we were trying as hard as we could to save this Florida chapter. And WC was part of that. So my memories of WC and my appreciation for WC is deeply rooted in those days and those nights when we all worked so hard to make tonight possible. I'm going to ask Jerry, would you come up here with me? And Gretchen, how about you coming up here and join us for this meeting? Well, we'll get him up here in a minute. I think Gretchen represents the very best of this chapter's support system through the years. She has persevered through all these years. She has been a leading force in the Women's Auxiliary. She has always supported WC. She's always supported this chapter. Not by herself. There's many, many others that have done the same thing. But she's always been there. And always, anything we sing at, wherever we go, she's there. So I think before we give any further honor to WC, we need to celebrate Gretchen. I say this to all of the wives and others here tonight. This chapter has always benefited and always been fueled by the support of the wives and the significant others. We appreciate that, and we realize that we have an opportunity to go Monday nights and all that sort of thing. And probably, the truth is, all you're glad we're gone and taking free time. But we also are aware that that is very, very special and very important for us. Now, WC, come on up here. We're going to try to present you with a 50-year pen. The only trouble with this is we don't have a pen. Oh,
I got a pen here.
That's all right. I thought what we would do, since we don't have the official pen, we'll have that for you Monday night, courtesy of Joe. But I thought, Jerry, instead of giving him a pen, let's give him a golf ball. So, let's present WC with a golf ball, if you don't mind, sir.
Throw it real hard. Gretchen now would like to say, and I'll say this on, we have spent a lot of hours, a lot of sleepless nights, trying to keep him in line all of these years. By and large, we've been unsuccessful. There have been a few times, but by and large, unsuccessful. By the way, you have been in so many courts, we still missed a couple.
Yeah.
But there are a bunch more than, or two or three more. But we've spent all this time together since back in the 60s. We have lasted longer together than most marriages. and have gotten along better than most husbands and wives. It's my brother. We go to family weddings, we go to family funerals, we know all about our families and all. That's how close you can get in this organization. So with all that, here, sir, is the best thing I can possibly give you. Another golf ball. Congratulations on 50 years.
Jerry said we were brothers. We're almost cousins too.
Really true.
Really true.
I didn't know it.
We come to find out that we have the same cousin. We sang for him over at Pikes Point Christian Church. And when I found out about it,
But he's a blood cousin, I'm just a regular old cousin. And Geraldine was raised me, she babysitted me way back when I was a kid. But I appreciate girls clapping and everything. Yeah, thank you very much.
I just want to make it on public record, nobody here is clapping as loud as WC.
Yeah.
If anybody's got that clap before, it's like a bomb.
There we go.
All right, the next award we have is the Director's Award, so Drew, we can come up, please.
All right.
Thank you. This one will not be quite as long as the last one.
That's the one.
That's it? That's the one.
That's
okay. So, the Director's Award is awarded by the director, so that would be me, to the Thoroughbred who helped him the most, did the most for or with him, and gave the most support over the course of the previous year. Last year, I gave the award to our president, Eric Hunstiger, as he was immeasurably helpful with getting me situated as a new director, and with getting our visions off the ground. And that decision last year was a fairly easy one. This year, the decision was equally clear, and possibly even more so. This person has been one of the most enthusiastic and passionate members all year long, despite his being still quite new to the course. He's taken on numerous tasks, initiated a few, and has also acted as sort of an unofficial consultant to a number of other people. He often emailed or texted me with questions, thoughts, or ideas he had about what the course was doing or what was coming up, and I often did the same to bounce ideas off him. We had very similar ideas about work ethic and about striving for success and striving for excellence. In fact, there have been a few stretches of time where he and I texted daily with ideas, thoughts, and opinions, to the point where he had to specifically say he was not going to bother me for a couple of days, and then had to make a conscious effort not to do so. All of his passion and excitement have led him to take on more official leadership roles, and tonight he is being installed as the Thoroughbreds Music Vice President. So ladies and gentlemen, the 2013 Director's Award goes to my very good friend, Dave Lobeck.
I don't think you can even see the awards at the same time. Thank you very much. Next, we have the President's Award, but Eric's sick. We can all yell at Eric again. Hey, Eric. Hey. He's going to make that presentation Monday night, from what I understand. So we'll see that Monday night. And now we have the Thoroughbred of the Year Award. I'm going to ask that all past Thoroughbred of the Years please come forward. And Ron Brumley, who will be making this presentation as last year's Thoroughbred of the Year. So let's give Ron a hand.
Stand up, please.
One thing we may not be aware of is what the Thoroughbred of the Award is and how it's awarded. One of the reasons why all these gentlemen are up here standing alongside of me is because they essentially are the ones who have of the Thoroughbred of the Year will be. The Thoroughbred Award states, to the man whose efforts have added most to the image of the Thoroughbred chapter as a unique barbershop organization. And those who are old and those who are new and everyone in the Barbershop Harmony Society know very definitely that the Thoroughbreds are a very definitely unique Thoroughbred organization, a very unique barbershop organization. We have a number of gentlemen who have been essentially the creators of what we have now as Barbershop Harmony Art, through a number of meetings and of course our beloved esteemed Director Emeritus Jim Miller, and all through the years a number of other individuals who have contributed to the leadership of Barbershop Harmony Society as it stands now. We have all these gentlemen before you here, who each in their own individual ways has also similarly added to the image of the Thoroughbred chapter as a unique organization. This year's recipient is no less worthy, and in fact has very definitely contributed this year and over the several years that I've known him to our being a unique organization. A little background of this individual. Believe it or not, he's a Yankee, and we do actually allow our Yankees to be part of the Barbershop Harmony Society, part of the Thoroughbreds, amazingly. He was born and raised in Concord, Massachusetts. He had 3 sisters, a wife, and 2 daughters. He went to Hillsdale College and received a degree in English and Business. He worked in Detroit in the car industry and won several Caddy Awards. Caddy Awards are basically local advertising awards. And if that already hasn't given you enough of a clue as to who this year's recipient is, let me pursue a little further. Many of the Mr. Goodwrench commercials that were in the 1980s, I'm told, were his doing, his genius, his creativity. His wife tells me that he is possibly devoted to and enthusiastic about the Thoroughbreds, even to the point of exhaustion. And I think we've all seen that in our own individual relationships with this individual. He enjoys golf, skiing, and is an avid Michigan State sports fan, a Red Wings fan, and a fan of the Patriots. Hey, you can't be perfect. His wife tells me, after spending a lot of money on piano and saxophone and clarinet lessons throughout his daughter's elementary and high school years and college years even, that she never thought that they would still be paying for vocal lessons for over 3 years. But this individual has not only a passion for singing, but also a dedication and devotion to it, such that he individually himself has taken singing lessons, and they've actually proven to be very helpful. And I'm not sure if he continues to take them or not, but he has very definitely benefited from those lessons, and he has benefited the chorus from his individual dedication, not just on Monday nights, but also in taking his own individual time to improve himself as a singer. Of course, he's also benefited the chorus through his numerous other activities, which we'll get to in a minute. In addition to improving himself as a singer, he's also been an inspiration to others, and in particular his daughters. One of his daughters tells me, "My dad is definitely the one that started my sisters and I and our interest in our love of music. He would sing both the Lord's Prayer and a family blessing with us every night as we grew up." He's also now a grandfather, and it's my understanding from his daughter that his grandson loves to listen to him sing, or sometimes even just do his vocal warm-ups. He's also very much into genealogy and has traced his family all the way back to the Mayflower. Of course, we know that he is dedicated to the Thoroughbreds in a number of ways. He has spent numerous hours as chairman of the Singing Valentine program, helping us advertise everything that we do, helping us publicize everything that we do through TV, radio, and print media, lending his creativity to the development of the show programs and the show narratives, the things that the MCs say, and the whole development of the actual show concept by now too, as well as oftentimes even the name of the annual show. In every way possible, individually, within himself, and in an official capacity as our many-year marketing and PR director, this individual has truly helped the Thoroughbreds and has definitely added to our image as a unique barbershop organization. This year's recipient of the Thoroughbred of the Year Award is, of course, Doug Powers.
Hey, good job.
One more. Okay.
All right. Congratulations. 4 years. Well done, Doug.
Too bad we don't have time for a speech.
As a Boston Red Sox fan, I have to object strenuously to any mention of me as a Yankee. That being said, everything that I've been able to achieve, everything that I've been able to do with this chorus has been a collaborative effort. All the guys around me put up with me, listen to me cajole, listen to me, yeah. Don Moore's over there going, yeah, this is my first quartet. He was smart enough to drop out. I would be remiss in saying that it's everyone else that makes what I do so important. First time when I won the Rookie of the Year, when I first started with this organization, I said, and it's so true today, my dad headed the Masons, and that was his fraternity as an adult, and his bunch of guys. And you are my fraternity.
Yeah.
The other thing that I would really say that I did that was really more important than anything else was going to the first board meeting. And at the end of the first board meeting, I just stood up and said, guys, what are you doing? We're a singing organization. Let's sing something. And I hope we will do that.
Yeah.
For those who have not attended board meetings, it's actually painful because of Doug's influence and insistence that every time we have a board meeting, either before or at the end, somehow we do some sort of singing as part of the board meeting, not just sit and talk and sometimes and talk and talk and talk. All right, thank you.
Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce Jay Hawkins, who's going to introduce our guest who will be taking care of the installation of the officers.
Thank you, Dave. This gentleman that is going to do our installation, I've known him for about 30 years now. He's been a quartet man. He's sung in about 8 or 9 quartets. He's as bad as me. He can't seem to keep a quartet as long as he'd like. The very first quartet that he sang in, I was judging.
Don't go there.
And I must say that over the years he's improved considerably. And in 1984, sang in a quartet called Bustin' Loose that won the Johnny Appleseed District Championship. Troy has also directed several barbershop chapters, Dayton Metro, which used to be Dayton Suburban, which is where my dad started singing barbershop back in the 50s. And Troy directed them in the 90s, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Right before
And
Randy.
now, how many years?
Right before Randy.
Right before Randy Chisholm.
Correct. And he is the current director of the Gem City Sweet Adelines Chorus out of the Centerville, Dayton, Ohio area. And I was talking to him, he's married to Tammy, and she's a Sweet Adeline. And together they're an excellent choreography coaching team that has worked all over the country, coaching choruses and quartets. And Troy is a special friend. We've had the opportunity to sing over the years with a lot of the same people, but never in a quartet together, even though he's actually competed on 3 different parts. He sang tenor in a quartet called Basses Loaded, which were all basses. And he sung lead in a quartet. I don't remember the name of it, but
Forever Yours. And it was very forgettable.
Yeah. And also bass in several quartets. But Troy is a truly fun individual to be around. The guys that I sing with in Rusty Pipes, Dale and Tom, have sung with Troy now for close to 30 years. And as Troy said to me earlier, he said his quartet, Bustin' Loose, is now on their 30th anniversary and would love to do our show. I said, not a chance. Anyway, I would like to introduce my good friend, Mr. Troy Caper.
Will they let you in this part? You gotta get home and do the dishes. Kip Buckner's out there. You guys haven't seen Kip out there. There's Pam's up and Pam out there. Come in. Come on in, Kip. You know, it actually reminds me of a story. You know that Kip and Jay have sung together for a number of years. I know you guys are, telling a lot of golf stories and that kind of thing. But actually, what you probably don't know is that they both like to fish as well. So hey.
You said come in. That's
right. So they both like to fish, and if you've known either of them very long, you'll know that this is probably a true story. That they were out fishing, and they were just nailing them, just pulling one in after another, after another, after another. And Jay had told Kip, he said, we really need to come out and hit this spot again tomorrow because we're just killing, man. We're just pulling on all kinds of things. And Kip thought that was a brilliant idea. So he gets out a roll of duct tape and puts an X in the bottom of the boat. And of course, Jay looks at him and he goes, Kip, what are you doing? And Kip said, I want to mark this spot so we come right out to the same spot, And Jay goes, that's just absolutely stupid. How do you know we're going to get the same boat tomorrow? Okay, well, I'm down here to do the serious thing, and that's install your officers. And actually, I do have to say one thing, Gretchen. What an angel, because I've just met WC tonight, and I'm thinking, yeah. Well, usually I come in with some kind of thing and do the board is like an automobile and just thanks for stopping by. And somebody's got to be the muffler, and that always gets really rough. And I tried one year to do a fruit salad, and that just didn't work out as well as it really out in my head. So, but I did get from Eric, and Eric, I'm sorry that you're not. Actually, funny story about this. I actually know, and we've known each other for a lot of years. Jerry actually worked with my father, and years ago at Proctor. Yeah. So, yeah.
all the time.
Yeah, that's all I was going to say about that. So. But Eric had sent me a list of these bios, and I thought this was really kind of a clever thing where everybody kind of wrote, how many years they were, in the Thoroughbreds, and it's just a little history I want to give about myself. I've always loved this chapter. I joined barbershop in 1975 when I was a junior in high school, and actually was at the Cincinnati Convention just as a bystander and watching that. And I've always had just a huge love for the Thoroughbreds, and one of my greatest regrets was I was actually down at Cincinnati when Jimmy was directing Cincinnati, and because of family things and stuff, I just couldn't make it work out that I could sing with that chorus. And I was always, and Jimmy never let me forget that. Every time I sang, he'd go, "Why didn't you sing with me?" And I'm like, "Jimmy, just give me a break, man. I know I messed up." So, but I love that man, and I love that, and always loved the Thoroughbreds. Love it. Enough about that. All right. So Eric had sent me these nice bios, and so instead of doing something clever, I thought I would just read these, because some of these are priceless. So, and I know not everybody is here, so on the individuals that aren't here, I will really abuse them. Because I'm down from Dayton, Ohio, and I'm a Yankee, and I don't get across that river much, and they'll probably block it. Although I do have to say, I was trying not to make fun of this, but I will much later.
Oh, go ahead.
You gotta love an installation banquet that has biscuits and gravy. You won't get that in Ohio. Fried chicken was not a surprise, but the biscuits and gravy was just the best. Okay. So we'll start out with our president, Eric. And Eric, are you watching? Wait. It's amazing is all the people, Eric, that actually turn to see you wave. But he owns his own landscaping business. You've seen that. Been a member for 16 years. And says, my love for this course and members has always drawn me to be part of the administrative part of the chapter. Now think about that for a minute. Not the singing part of the chapter, but the administrative part of the chapter. Eric, I don't know you, but that just kind of scares me. Let's go to the secretary. Is Reese here? Reese has got to be here. Reese, come on. Reese.
Right.
That's exactly how I pictured you. I did not have an opportunity to meet any of these individuals on this list, except Troy. And Troy, what can I say? Troy. I changed my name. Now you're the perfect candidate for secretary. Okay? It is, because everybody else, when because it's a form. I don't know if all of you have seen this, but it's like how many years you've been thoroughbred, and what do you do for a living, and significant other, wife, that kind of thing, and then why, right? Everybody on this list, everybody, under the why. Their why was almost as long as the question, why you want to be on the board. Reese wrote War and Peace here. I had to put another cartridge in my printer. And also the fact that, and you know he's got to be a secretary about this, because everybody else under their years, regardless of how many years, use numerals. 1-6 for 16, 2-5 for 25, the number 5 for 5. Reese has been a member how long? 3 years. Yeah, 3 years. T-H-R-E-E. He actually wrote it out. The number 3. All right. Have a seat, because I'm actually going to read this whole thing. No, you stay up here. Stay up here. I accepted the job of chapter secretary in capitals because it's closely parallels. Yeah, I know. When I was a bulletin editor, I used to write that in my tagline. So I tried to include something here for everybody, so anybody looking for mistakes, we'll find some of those too. Well, closely parallels the work that I do in my professional life, which he works for the Department of Transportation Compliance Manager. How exciting is that? No, I love that. I'm actually a logistics and supply chain management guy, so I mean, come on. You'd think I'd be in sales, but I'm not. So he says, the Thoroughbreds course has been an exciting one. me and contributing my service is a natural expression of gratitude. I mean, it just flows. No organization can thrive if it relies on the select few to do all the myriad, who uses myriad? Tasks required for a harmonious operation. It's poetry. Recognizing that I have neither the time nor the talent to volunteer for every course need. I'm glad you're not bigger than you are. I count it a privilege to share my experience in writing and business management, sharing our strengths. Every member has the opportunity to shoulder his portion. I mean, it's like he's writing war bond videos or something. So, to shoulder his portion of the load, a load made lighter and joyful by the camaraderie of, and actually I went to public school, I had to look that one up. Camaraderie of friends working together with the help and advice of, and I'm not going to go through these names because I can't pronounce half of them. But anyway, this is our secretary, and I think you picked a good one here. So have you been secretary before? Brilliant. Bob Peters, come on down. Where's Bob? You gotta love Bob as a treasurer because Bob is from the Countess. You ever see that commercial? I got it. Yeah. Bob is a great guy. Well, and thank you all. Bob, you're going to do just great as a treasurer. I can see that. So you've been a course member for 5 years. House paid off. We'll be at the end of the show. Currently works at Oxmoor. Previously owned a road truck. You were a road truck driver. You're a truck driver. Let me see that correct. All right, that was good. All right. Wife for 1 year. You've only been married 1 year. Right? Well, congratulations. And you paid me, so that's all I'm going to say about you. Go sit down. I'm going to be nice to you. So, no, Bob, actually, you were. I was sitting at the table with you. You were actually funny, which I wouldn't have guessed. VP of Chapter Development, which I think in the rest of the country is called membership. So, Dave Schroeder, come on down. Where's David? Dave. You look like you just stepped out of Caddyshack. I'm just So yeah, I mean, some of these just write themselves. I mean, he's a vice president of chapter development, and the big thing about chapter development is taking care of the chapter, right? And, you know, it's the membership guy is really, you know, bringing that kind of thing out, and he works for Allstate, so you're in good hands. I mean, perfect choice there. So, why does he want to be? I'm grateful for the opportunity to support the Thoroughbreds. You sound like a jock supporter. So, it was very rewarding to provide moving experiences and entertainment for the enjoyment of our audiences. So that was good. So that was good. Yeah. That's all I got. I tell you, you get no respect. All right. There's more people on this one. All right, here we go. So, Dave, is it Lovick? Dave?
The other Dave.
Oh, Dave, yeah. So you're just a go-getter kind of guy, aren't you? Yeah. I like the whole casual thing. It's really good. Right, so you're only here for almost, I love that everybody else wrote like, yeah, almost 2 years. He wrote here. Almost 2 years, and you elevated yourself to this. That's amazing. Did you have to change your text plan in order to not go over in minutes with him? Did you change, or did you have unlimited text? Unlimited text. Good plan. Okay.
Yes.
So, he's, let me see here. So, Edward Jones, financial advisor. I actually have all my stuff with Edward Jones. up in Dayton. I don't know the guy.
We have a branch in Jeffersonville, you may want to.
No, Jefferson. So, let me see. This is a man of great depth of thought. Why is being on the board important to you? To contribute. Yeah, sure.
I'll take some.
Doug Powers. Where's Doug? I should have guessed at that tie that you would be in marketing or advertising. I actually want that tie. So don't walk out in the parking lot alone. And I love the name, Doug Powers. Doug Powers. It's like Austin Powers, you know? It's like Doug Powers. What a solid name, you know? Not like Reese. Doug Powers. No, I love it. I'm not going to make fun of you because if you actually do,
Yeah,
what?
Unchained.
I know, actually, I was going to open with that great line that we always say about, Kentucky when we're in Ohio, which is, the land of beautiful horses and fast women. It's backwards. Although I do have to make fun of the fact that if you notice that southbound 75, the bridge, actually is above northbound. You know why that is, right? Right, so so we can actually drop our shoes to the people coming. Just kidding. It's but like how you have the bridge on 64, right? You know why that is? So all the Hoosiers can actually swim across the river in the shade. So, okay, I'm back. So, creative director with advertising, and actually, I think you are the perfect guy for this. I love this. Just singing with the Thoroughbreds wasn't enough. I mean, that's dedication right there. That's the opening line. Just singing with the Thoroughbreds wasn't enough. I want to be an integral part of the organization, helping it thrive and grow. I'm not a barbershop brat. I wonder who that's directed to. And I represent the ordinary Joe, or in this case, Ed, because half your board has the name Ed on it, by the way. Of course, remember, and may never be front row material. I'm glad you recognize that. Be self-aware. But helps your organization achieve excellence in many other ways. And actually, I have high hopes for you guys. I think it's going to be great. So there's your VP of marketing. That's good. It's good. I think you got a great choice right there. And public relations, Ed Hartman. Ed's not here, right? That's right. So I did get a little background on Ed. He's been with the chorus 15 years. He works at Walmart. I didn't get any more, so I'm guessing greeter. He's not a big man, is he? Very big. So I'll see him coming. Is that right? Okay. We're good. I'll work out. Very much interest. So he's in charge of the hall, and I think that's because I know it was funny we were talking about the fact that at Gem City we actually have our own hall space that we rent, and I said, yeah, the great thing about that is you can leave the risers up all the time, and then there was like the silences. I guess apparently you guys can't leave your risers up all the time because he's always renting out the hall and everything, right? That's right. Okay, well that's good. That's good. So anyway, so that's Ed, VP of Operations, and that's a great job. I think it's awesome that you guys have that kind of facility to do that. So James Cole, VP of Fundraising.
Yeah. Hey.
Looking good. So you're in charge of the bingo and all the fundraising. So nice shirt. So did you lose a bet? So He's been here 21 years. Joined in '91. Took off. I love this under the number of years. This is a man that's really focused. This is the man in charge of fundraising. This is the man that's in charge of collecting as much and keeping track of that. Under his years, he goes 15, I think. And I haven't quite figured this one out. He's a legal assistant, 20 years, and of course, I am Mr. Fix-It.
Yeah.
Now, is that in the legal sense? Or is that, because normally they're called bail bondsmen. So that's a.
Actually, I should have said repair.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that would be good. And let me see, the Thoroughbreds. I like that. The Thoroughbreds. A couple of you guys wrote that. Have given me a new look on life. And then barbershop does that. I mean, it really does. I absolutely love barbershop. One of the things, when Jay was asking me how I got hooked on it and how I kind of got started, my father, who sang barbershop, and my grandfather who sang barbershop, but never in the society. My grandfather did it in vaudeville, and my father in minstrel shows, and pacing, that kind of thing. But he had Buffalo Bills live in Las Vegas out. Anybody remember that? Anybody heard that one before? And I would listen to that thing. I still have it now. And he always said I could have it if I could not, pull it from his dead grip. And he had a heck of a grip. Still alive. I just didn't really beat him up for that. But that's how I got hooked on barbershop. And I knew once I got old enough I wanted to do this. So it's a great hobby. So anyway, back to James. So fundraising, very good. I love all caps. To sing, just wish I was better. And I'm sure many people share that. I know Drew was just talking about it. I want to help provide others the chance to get the rewards, feelings and friendship in capitals, which is really cool. And you're just kind of a lovey-dovey guy, aren't you? Yeah. The beard gives it away. I love this course, and that's all in caps. So I think that just says it all. And he said, I could make this a book. So obviously you're with Reese. So, but I will stop now. I love that. He wrote that. I will stop now. So that's good. So this is your VP of fundraising. So there you go. Mike, is it Ehringer? Mike, is Mike here? Ehringer, there he is. Come on down. How you doing? Yeah, he has a sonder about him, the whole hair thing. Yeah. So he's your course manager. Been a course member for 22 years. Former high school teacher, coach, and principal. And I can just imagine he needs every one of those skills with you guys.
Yeah.
Been married to Margaret for 46 years.
Hey.
You were in 16. My wife and I, we have had 25 just absolutely wonderful years. 32 altogether, but really pretty good. So, and actually it'd be 33 if she would have married me the first time around, but I wasn't really sure, and I was really surprised at the velocity of how fast that ring came back at me. So that's another story. Good picture. So let me see. Reason to be on the board. I love this barbershop hobby and really enjoy organization and interaction with people. You do seem like a people person. Are you an Aquarian by chance?
I have no idea. No, what am I? Pisces. What are you?
Pisces. Well, that's close. That's close. I'm sure he's like, when he's asked what sign were you born under, he said, keep off the grass.
Yeah.
Think about that one for a little bit. So let me see here. Where was I? It's my way of giving back and enhancing all the. How you doing? I hope I can always make decisions that are for the benefit of everyone in this chapter. And I think you will. I think you're just a very, very gregarious guy there. So I think that'll be excellent, excellent, excellent. So good choice, of course, manager there.
Glorious?
Not glorious, not glorious. All right, Ed Happing, where's Ed? Come on down.
Yeah.
So Ed is your immediate past president. So how long were you president before? Just the 1 year? 2 years. All right. The great thing about being a past president, and I've been past president before, is all you have is your opinion. You have no responsibility. You don't have to vote on anything. You just have to show up and give your opinion. That's like the sweetest job of all. You should try to keep that for like a couple of years. So, you see, he's an attorney with the federal government. My taxes are up to date. Right. So, oh yeah, I was kind of making fun the other day that I was thinking that the offensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos was the same guy that kind of set up the Obama website because he had weeks to prepare and nothing worked right. So as your position on the board provides an excellent opportunity to assist in the mission of the course, to continue striving for excellence, as well as the very important task of serving as a voice of each man on the risers. So you are just the Joe Barbershopper kind of guy. So Ed, I think that's it's the leadership I've heard over the last couple of years has been really great. So I think you'll be just perfect in that role as being immediate past president. So let's get our Cardinal District Delegate Kim Acton. Kim's not here. Perfect choice. Is anybody with the name Kim has got to be able to delegate. And I say that because I actually grew up, my first name is actually Lauren, Loran. And I can't tell you how many times I got mistaken for Lorraine, which made for a tough childhood. So Kim, yeah, Kim is going to be perfect there. I won't say anything more about Kim. Is he a big name? He's an active guy. All right, we'll leave him alone then. Mr. Higgins, Jim Higgins, where are you? Member at large.
Stand up, Jim.
Yeah, stand up. Come on up here.
Very large.
Thank you, sir. You play golf? No. Really? You look like didn't he have that look of just a golfer? Just.
His shorts.
Another attorney, though.
Another attorney, yeah.
You're not an attorney? Another attorney. Great. So how do you know when an attorney has been run over in the road? Right? Because there's tracks going forwards and backwards. Just kidding. So, why is being on the board important to you? To assist in returning the Thoroughbreds to the level.
Hold on.
What?
Well, I went out.
Yeah.
Operation.
Wardrobe malfunction.
You run the battery.
Worn out. I think Troy wore it out. I don't need this thing. Troy, you wore it. Oh, we're back. There we go. The whole money thing for your Jay actually put me up to that. So. We'll just put that. We're almost at the end. So let me see. Let's see. So attorney Betty to assist, of course, and yeah, and I think actually I'm looking forward to that too. Cause did you guys just win Cardinal District like last year, or close to it? Yeah. So it's coming back. I think it's going to be great under the group. So. All right, let's bring up Ed Ward.
Yay!
Parish manager. Ed,
Yes.
you just look like a pet to me. I just can't imagine the stories that you would have. So especially with a name like 24 years with the Thoroughbreds. You got some stories, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, and you work at St. Francis of Assisi Church for 20 years. Wow. Yeah. So, and actually, it's kind of an interesting thing. My mom is Catholic. I was raised Catholic. Been at the Methodist Church for 28 years now, but my mom still thinks I'm visiting. And my father is Masonic. 32nd degree, so my dad would always teach her about, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Masons are in second place. But anyway, I love this. Why is being a member of the board in our organization and not just the members standing on the risers? So you're not, one can infer that you're not participating when you're standing on the risers. Just the word thing. And let's bring up, and I saved the best for last, unintentionally, but now it turns out to be a brilliant idea. Troy Lovett. Wait a minute, that is the $5 there. So, perfect attendance. So, how you doing? You're trying to be sneaky that time. We come back up. Perfect attendance is 2007. Woo! Get a life! That's just impressive. That really is that. I'm guessing there's probably some times you shouldn't have been here because you were probably sick or on death's bed, right? Yeah, that's impressive. So 26 years with the Thoroughbreds. Why is being on the board important? As a member at large and course counselor, I want to serve as facilitator for discussions to support our president and musical leadership in the pursuit of making their vision to the course a reality, to bring a historical context. Yeah, I liked how you went on through all the quartets. I'm glad you didn't go into all the songs they sang. I've still been here. To bring a historical context, and that's important. Though. You got to remember your history. I do this all the time with Gem City. Gem City, as you know, has 4 or 5 gold medals, and it's important to know your roots. And a lot of what happened in the society has been altered because of the contributions that the Thoroughbreds have made over the years. So. I love the Mardi Gras March. I love the story of where they were thinking about disqualifying you guys because it was a march, and Jimmy Miller told him, "Go ahead, do it," And then he was flipping mad because they put it on the album. And that was the one song to put on the album that they were going to disqualify you guys. They want to put the first song on the album. So I love Jimmy. But there's somebody that had some serious good spot right there. And hopefully encourage and foster a spiritual dimension to our time with the Thoroughbreds. And I can only imagine how spirited you are, because everybody just has such kind words to say about you. Is that good? Yeah. Okay, so he's not really a member of the board, but I think it's somebody just as important as every member of the board, and I want to bring him up, Drew Wheaton. Come on up, Drew. Not everybody can pull off the bow tie look. Yeah. And I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, it helps with the medal. The medal definitely helps. So. Hey.
Can't take it off since you got it.
Yeah.
Nor would I.
I do relate a lot with Drew and with Jay, actually, because I can say in all 3 of our cases that we actually married up. No. Yeah. And actually, a fun story I'll talk about Drew real quick. I'm up in Dayton, Ohio, and I see a posting that they're working with like some local high school a cappella groups and that kind of thing. And there was an a cappella contest held up in Dayton. And all of a sudden, I'm looking, and there's Drew and Chris. And I'm like, so this was just so much fun. Actually, seeing you guys outside of the world of barbershop and something like that. We had a good time. I took them out. Found the PW3s because that's really all I could afford. But it was good. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through this official thing right here, and then that's the end of the. That's all they're smooth.
She hesitated. She
was good. I'm thinking next year we go out there. All right. So being a board. And that relationship between the board and the chorus is much like a marriage. So we're going to have a little wedding ceremony. In In keeping with the importance of this occasion, I've tried to choose the proper words that will enhance the dignity of this installation. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to join in holy union this group of untried and untested officers and the Louisville Thoroughbred course. To the officers, you all ready? Hold up your right hand. Oh, they got it right. So obviously choreography must not be any problem with you guys. To you, the officers, take the chapter to be your sole responsibility in 2014. To love, honor, and cherish and promote the Thoroughbreds in sickness and in health, for richer or poorer, with or without Drew, as long as your term requires. If so, answer I do.
I do.
All right. To the members, and to you, the members of the Thoroughbreds course, you can put your arm down. Okay, they got that. Take these questionable officers who more or less cherish accepting good as well as bad decisions in good times or bad, and will support them with adequate funds, regardless of embezzlement. That one would be for you, Bob. Embezzlement. I lost my place. Oh, here we go. So long, yes, right at the end. So long as you both can sing. So the answer I do.
I do.
All right. Who giveth this chapter away? Yeah, that would be you. Past president. You say I do.
I do.
There you go. If there anyone who has any reason to believe that we should not join these officers in this chapter together, let them speak. This does not include wives or significant others, or both. Let them speak now or forever hold their peace. So with this ceremony, I now declare our 2014 officers of the Louisville Thoroughbreds chapter to be duly installed. And with the international have joining together, let no contest judge pull us apart. All right.
See you, work. All right, thank you very much. Does anybody else have anything? Anybody? Let me see. Congratulations on 50 years. If you want to say something, you can say. Okay.
Yes. Don't give it to Mike.
Leave it open.
I will say something.
Damn it, I shouldn't have said it.
I think CNSWC has been in this course 50 years. Judy and I have been married 50 years this month. And I don't know if the message has gotten home, but we're going to have a party at Thoroughbred Hall on March 15th. And you all are welcome. However, we need to know how many is coming so we can arrange for food and drinks. There will be food, there will be drinks, beer and wine. We're going to have music, and the dance floor will be set up. Now, for those of you who move your feet to rock and roll, there will be very little of that. We are going to have music like we had when we were growing up. So anyway, I've got a sign-up sheet I'll have at the hall, or if you would like, you can tell Judy, and she will write your name down with the number, and we'll take care of that tonight. That's all I've got to say.
One last quote from Jesse Owens, great athlete. Awards become corroded, friends gather no dust. We're all friends here. Let's celebrate the friendships. Thank you for being here. Thanks for coming to Thoroughbred. Thank you to the staff. Let's have a great evening.
Thank you, Eric.
Very good.